All right, everybody, welcome in for another episode here from the Tips. We're going to hop in all things Kiowa Island. We'll see you guys on the back end. All right, everybody. Hey, happy PGA Championship Thursday. I want to welcome in my guy, All Falcon Day, Bobby. Bobby, appreciate you joining me tonight. I know it's kind of late notice.
Yeah, man, no problem. Yeah, it's my honor to pinch.
It's going to be fun, man. It's
Absolutely.
Key was fun. Key was hard. These guys, listen. It's this is relatively no wind too when we think about playing a golf course that's right on the ocean. So interesting stuff to talk about today. Of course, there's some stories and some names we'll talk about on the leaderboard, some surprises, including Corey Connors, who, I mean, had a fantastic round, 67. Was not sure was out there when I was watching this morning. But let's just jump right into it, man. I was interested when we were jumping into the week to see how the PGA set up the course. I mean, it's been a while since we've been here. You probably remember quite well, Rory Mcilroy just demolishing the field. But I thought the PGA did a pretty solid job, and I think this was kind of like a test run for them as well to see how they could set this course up. Because, I've been to Kiowa Island, seeing the golf course, there's so many multiple different tee boxes and angles that they can go with. Of course, the wind's expected to switch on Sunday. What did you think of the way the course was set up today?
I thought it was great. To me, getting the scores where par is pretty difficult and the leaders are, between 3 and 5 under. To me, that shows me is you're going to have the best golfer win this golf tournament because you can't hide out there, man. You have to play 72 solid holes of golf if you're going to win this week.
It's a great point. Because there's no place to run and hide on this golf course. You can't fake it around here. So again, it's going to be a fun weekend. But yeah, so just moving forward, man, let's kind of break down a little bit of the leaderboard, what we see here. Actually, you know what? The first thing I wanted to do is give ESPN some credit. I hate ESPN. It's terrible organization. But at the end of the day, the coverage was so damn good today. It's second to really none that I've seen. And they've done a good job in the past, just giving you golf, man, and lots of golf. And they had cool wind gauges. Pretty much could watch it anywhere you wanted to. You could watch featured groups. They had, which I like, and I love a good featured group. But the problem is it's nice to be able to actually have like a broadcast where like we can go anywhere we want with this thing, or you can watch the featured groups. I know I had my boy Spieth up on a featured group while I was watching the regular coverage. So I thought for me, ESPN's doing a fantastic job of doing this. And hell, if it's like this, I could roll with them every major. You love to see it. But yeah, to touch on Jessica's point here, does the weather and winds worry your picks at all? So the wind was for the somewhat. It was supposed to be anywhere between 15 and 25 Thursday, Friday, Saturday rather, and then the changing of the wind on Sunday. The one thing that's interesting is the wind that they're expecting on Sunday is exactly what we saw when they played in August in 2012. It's a different golf course, of course. The wind players, and you see guys in Bryson's one that comes to mind when we talk about this. there's certain guys that are able to flight their golf ball unlike other people. And I think Bryson struggles with it a little bit because of the length of his clubs. Rory McIlroy struggles with it a ton. Yeah, the best in the business, in my opinion, is either your Jordan Spieth or Justin Thomas. With their ability to flight the golf ball, those are guys I like. I think when you were at the beginning of the week, when you were looking into your picks, of course the wind's going to make a huge difference at this golf course just because it is right on the ocean. It's going to be interesting come Sunday because most of these guys in this field haven't even seen the wind in that direction. So it's going to bring holes like 10 and 13, which are, I mean, basically like right now, number 7 is playing like a par 4. It's going to completely flip. It'll be a different golf hole. So as far as guys that I like in the wind, I hope that we pick those guys already. Some of those guys, disappointed. Victor Hovland's a fun guy to look at when we talk about the wind. He just hits the ball so damn good and so damn solid that it really doesn't matter what the wind's doing, just because his ball pierces the wind. And that's when your solid ball strikers and guys that can then work their way around the course, know where to miss the ball. Those are the guys. I think that when we get into major championships, the guys that can think the best around the golf course are just as good as, your mental game and your strategy around places like this in such a damn hard golf course is just as important as what you're doing as far as, your swing in your game.
Yeah. And first of all, can I just touch on the fact that the TV production was so good today that we're able to talk about wind direction on holes, and we've probably seen like 15 to 20 shots on those holes. I mean, the production quality is not only better, but to your point, there's so many different viewing options, and we can watch it from 7 a.m. till the round finishes. And it's 2021, so we can work from home. I mean, this is the way it should be every week. I mean, this is awesome.
Yeah, it's the way in 2021, it's the way it should be based off the technology and stuff we have. We should really be able to have kind of that master's experience where we can pretty much watch our guy regardless of where they are in the golf course or when they tee off. But yeah, excellent job from ESPN, and you will never hear me say that again. It's a one-time thing here. But yeah, it was a delight to watch.
So talking about the wind, in my opinion, if you're gearing up for a major championship and you're on your game, like these are pro golfers, they know how to play in the wind. So to me, it just puts money on the best golfers in the world. And you would like to think that on a hard course like this, that the cream would rise to the top. But man, there were some random names popping up on the leaderboard today.
Hey, there's nothing better than I'm driving the kids to school and I'm listening to the action, and the leader at like 7:40 is John Daly, right? That's when we're fully engaged in beautiful PGA week. He chips in on the first hole, ends up firing a smooth 85. So yeah, you hate to see it. Brian Harmon, yeah, man. He's 0 birdies on the card, 4 over right now, according to this through 14.
This course does not set up well for Brian Harmon.
It's just a lot, man. It's a lot. And when you're hitting, when you're taking the head cover off a considerable amount of times, it's hard to get the ball close enough to make birdies, right? And there's like, the one par 5 is playing 608 into the wind. And I mean, for Brian Harmon, that's like driver 3-wood 4-iron, right?
And you know what's funny, Drew, though, is, we have these conversations, and then who makes the first eagle of the day? Zach Johnson. It's like, of course. Who
else would it be? Who else would it be? Yeah, no, I know you love Brian Harmon there, Ryan. So we'll see, man. Again, if you're not hitting it close to the hole, it's going to be difficult to make anything. Yeah, let's just touch right on the top of the leaderboard, man. Corey Connors, I mentioned it before. Talk about just a fantastic ball striker he is. Just to think about it, just think of him Monday qualifying to winning a tournament and into becoming a kind of a world-class player to an extent. He's an under-the-radar player, but for guys like us that throw cash and watch this shit every week, he's got game, and he's not going anywhere. I'm not overly shocked by his round. I'm shocked he got to 5 under.
Yeah, and I'd also like to see him do it over 4 days.
Right.
It doesn't surprise me at all that Corey Connors had a low round in him this week. But to your point, I mean, he gave 6 under a pretty good scare.
Yeah, and again, like just one blemish on the scorecard, and he came out, and again, I think one of the other things to touch on, and back to the point of the wind, it was a tough break, and it's going to be a tough break tomorrow. It's going to be a tough. Well, they're not going to double tee on Saturday, but it's a tough break to tee off on the back nine, because you get to 14. And you play 14 through 18, which 14 is just a brutal par 3. 17, we've talked about it. Guys are hitting 3 woods off the tee. I mean, all these holes into the wind, last time I saw, were playing 369 over par for the players, which is bonkers. But yeah, so you tee off the back nine, and yes, 10, 13 right now are downwind, but you get to 14, you get to the meat and potatoes of the golf course. It's all into the wind. You make the turn. There's 5 more holes in a row into the wind until you get any relief. At least if you tee off the front, you don't. It's not just going into the wind all day long. That could be demoralizing for guys, especially Brian Harmons and guys that are just constantly, again, pulling the damn head cover off. It's just hard to get it close. It's hard to get it close with hybrids. It just is. It's that simple.
Yeah, and I mean, these guys are definitely capable of pulling those shots off, but when you have to do it 10 to 15 times or, whatever the number is in a tournament, you're going to have some loose swings for sure. But can we talk about, we did give some praise on the setup earlier, but how about the situation on 18 and guys just bombing it left into the grandstand and getting a free drop from a trampled lie?
Yeah.
It's solid lie with a great angle into the green.
It's basically where they're dropping.
What happened at a major?
Where they're dropping is hard pan. It's absolute hard pan. It's like hitting off a fairway, and all the trouble's up the right. There's 3 penal bunkers right up the right-hand side, so guys are just bailing out left, and it's kind of bullshit. It kind of, in some extent, ruins the hole to me. I know it's still a very difficult hole, but what comes Sunday, when we have a golf tournament and somebody's just going to just throw one up into the middle of the grandstand, get a free drop, play it off hard pan, it seems – and they've done this. I remember at Pebble, for example, and I forget which hole it is, but they basically made the big par 5 down the hill, then back up the hill. I think it's 8 or 9.
7.
7. So they basically said, listen, guys were just hitting it on top of the hill, way up on top of the hill to the left, because you could actually see the green, and it's just a bullshit route. And so I've seen courses just say, hey, this is in course OB. I know you can't necessarily pick up and do that in the middle of the tournament. The tournament's already started. The rules are what they are. But it just, to me, it feels like when we're playing such a difficult championship golf course, you shouldn't have that bailout.
It's scummy, man.
Yeah, it really is. But again, if I'm a competitor out there, I'm playing it in the grandstand. Yeah, exactly. And it's just, to come down to that. In last year, we kind of went away from talking about this because we didn't have grandstands, right? There wasn't grandstands at golf courses in courses played different to these guys. There's lots of times Phil Mickelson lives in the grandstand, right? Think of
he's gotten hitting people.
Yeah, exactly. So you're right. It's scummy. It's a bullshit thing. I don't like it. Again, they're not going to change it, but I'm wearing a helmet if I'm partying over there on the left-hand side, about 280 to 300 yards down there. I mean, it was dangerous out there today.
I'm curious to hear what the talk is in the locker room about that, because some guys are out there like, oh, I'm not going to do that because of the integrity of golf, and that's not how the hole was designed to be played. And there's guys that are like, fuck that, man. Like, I'm going to go bomb it left. I don't care.
We're talking about many, many zeros in these paychecks, right?
Right.
Or you hope many, many zeros in these paychecks. I mean, I don't know what the overall purse is this week. $12 million. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Tiger Woods, right? It's really much what that comes down to, in my opinion. All
right, so this is interesting. He thinks Morikawa is going to pull off the back-to-back. If not,
I don't know. I certainly, Morikawa is a pick in many of my lineups, and it's just simply it's the best iron player in the world.
His game travels, it translates onto
his putter doesn't.
Yeah, that's
the
his
issue.
only weakness, man. But his putter's been good enough to win a major and a WGC before the age of 23, I believe. So
it's impressive. I mean,
yeah.
again, this just is a tip of the cap to how groomed these guys are coming out of college.
Yeah.
I mean, we look at Victor Hovland, Matthew Wolf, even a Sam Burns. I mean, Morikawa. Aaron Wise. Yeah, these guys are stepping in and they're immediately ready to win right now.
So fun story about Morikawa that I heard when he was in college. They were doing some club fitting, and I forget what the brand was. Let's just say it was TaylorMade. Had him hit like 106 irons with a TrackMan, and the guys at TaylorMade, he was like 19 at the time. They told him your dispersion would be top 5 on the tour with his 6 iron.
It's incredible.
Like that's just insane.
He's his swing, his game, everything. To me, the one thing I can say about Colin Morikawa is Colin Morikawa never seems to play out of himself, right?
Yeah.
He plays his game. You know, people might say he's not huge off the tee. He just hits a 294 on average, I think, right? I mean, we were talking about this the other night, and somebody mentioned, do you think 200 to 280 yard average off the tee is out of play? And I'm thinking, and we looked it up, and there's 280 is 209th on tour.
I was going to say,
isn't that freaking ridiculous? Yeah, right. And you would think that 280 is legitimate. You 100% would.
Yeah.
And then like even statistics wise, you'd be like, yeah, 280 is still a long ball. But then you look and it's like, Jesus. I mean, the funny thing to me, and this is getting way off topic, but that's what we do here. Right. Stuart Sink is top 20 in driving distance on tour.
Yeah, that makes sense that a 48-year-old is having his longest year on tour.
Yeah, right. It doesn't make it's so interesting. And to Ryan's point, he was like, yeah, he's like, what do you think 280? And like originally we're like, yeah, you know. And then you look at the numbers, and it's like there's 50 or so guys that average over 300 yards. It's right. Incredible, man. It's I played golf for a long time. I played competitive golf. I've played some good golf. I would shoot. I have shot at this golf course. I've shot at 88. And I thought I played pretty well. But I mean, again, it's a whole different ball game between what these guys are at and where a +2 handicap at your country club's at. It's not even on the same planet.
I mean, I want to say the rating at Kiawah is either 79 or 80, and the slope is like 154 or just something completely ignorant like that.
It's the hardest golf course statistically in the world.
Yeah. So like an 88 there translates into what? Like a 79 on an average course, 80, you know?
We had this sick setup. Like when I went to the golf academy out of Myrtle, we were able to go play Kiawah for $80.
Oh.
And then you just had to pay for your caddy. So I went and
you did almost beat John Daly.
Yeah, exactly. What a cool golf course and a cool experience. And I touched on this on Tuesday's show. Is the cool thing about Kiawah Island is, and I know you like to get around, and I know you've been to Riv, and I know you've been to lots of the players, and you've kind of been everywhere, but.
Augusta,
it's
putting that in
there. Shameful plug there. That's ridiculous. So it's I forgot what the hell I was even talking about. Augusta threw me all off. So I don't know.
No, you were playing Kiawah for $80 with.
Yeah. So you're playing Kiawah for $80, and it's just this experience. You get out on Kiawah Island, and basically Charleston set up to where there's a bunch of kind of different islands around Charleston, and I remember back in 2012, Tiger just took privacy up there, no big deal. But there's literally, and at the time I went, which was probably 6 years ago at this point, there's one road into Kiawah Island, one road out of Kiawah Island, and you're throwing an event with tens of thousands of people, an absolute shit show getting people on and off of Kiawah Island. It's a disaster. Kiawah Island's not this huge island either. Like, no. I just remember that it was a disaster. I don't know how it is now. I would think that they would improve it going into something like this, but I just remember going in just on a normal Wednesday. Nothing was going on, and it was a disaster to even get on the island. So it's good to see fans back, dude. It's good to have drunk guys yelling at people. I think I saw Phil make a bogey or a double and somebody yell like activate the Cavs or some shit. Like it was like it's electric. Like we'd like to. I didn't hear any mashed potatoes, but it is Thursday, so I'm sure we'll get into some of that. Let's touch on it, man, and I'll let you take first crack at it.
If I get first crack, it's Brooks Kepka.
Let's go at it, man.
How is this not the biggest story in sports right now? The guy should be out until, I want to say, after the British Open. I mean, he is literally playing on a broken, like, I don't know what the medical term is for his knee currently, but he just had serious knee surgery and is playing
2 months ago.
He's playing in warm-up tournaments before this. And
it's such Brooks to just play like shit and then show up to one of these 4 things and then come out and boat 69. That's just Brooks, man.
Shoots a 69 and fires a double on the opening hole. Like,
did you get to see? So the opening hole I was watching this morning.
Yeah, everyone vomited all over themselves in that group.
Rory hits one heading out to the Atlantic. It was so far right, and then Brooks, which was such a dumb thing. I'm watching Brooks tee off, and he hits 3-wood, which like carries him basically right. I don't want to say right up against the lip of the bunker, but like close enough to where it was just it was just a dumb play club choice.
But here's the thing with Brooks right now is that I don't question anything he does because the guy's playing on one leg. So it's like, well, maybe he's trying a different swing or a shot that's a little like doesn't hurt his knee as much. You know what I mean?
And then he drives one into the lip. It proceeds to come back into the bunker, and he ends up making 6 on 1. And you're like, holy shit, dude. I mean, anybody but Brooks, you'd be like, okay, we got issues here. But he just gets into it, and he hit 9 straight greens on what was his back 9, the front 9, as well as hitting the par 5, one of the par 5s and 2. So he went, and it started clicking. He'd been missing lots of shots left because of the knee. But whatever, if Claude Harmon was injecting him with whatever this morning in that knee, I don't know what it was, but you're 100% right. Super impressive. I saw a lot of people, and I'll tell you what, I will not make this mistake again. I didn't pick him. I saw him. He couldn't walk. I couldn't pick him. I couldn't pick him. And so I will not fade or not pick Brooks Koepka at any major championship moving forward. I don't care what he does the rest of the week. It's so interesting to his mental, and I can't, of course, see into his mind, but like you see it as I do, the dude just shows up for major championships. And it's almost like, I don't know if the other ones just don't mean enough to him or whatever the hell it may be. It just seems like this is what he plays for, man. And that's fine. I know a guy, Tiger Woods down into the Jupiter area that's kind of, I mean, although he won all the time, but this is what these guys play for. And it's pretty damn impressive, man.
Oh, it's absolutely it is. Did you see that story that Rory Mcilroy told when he went and visited Tiger recently? And Tiger had all 14 of his major trophies on display. And Rory innocently asked him, hey, where are your other trophies? And Tiger was like, oh, I don't know. Somewhere at my mom's, I think. Literally didn't know where his trophies were.
That's such a flex, by the way.
Meanwhile, you have people that like a PGA Tour win changes.
One win changes their life.
Yeah. And like Rory was just like, wow, you really don't care about non-majors.
No, and it's wild because one tour win in now 2021 or whatever, it's life-changing because of Tiger. You know what I mean? Like you winning 1.7 at the John Deere for bringing home the.
You have status for 2 years, so checks. You get into WGCs, free checks. You get into the Tournament of Champions, free check. The Masters, there's 10 grand. Like, you know what I mean? You get all these invitations where it's just free money.
Exactly. So like you went from playing Korn Ferry Tour events where top 25 is not a lot of cash. And now you've won one time. And like you said, you're cashing free checks like 6 times a year. You're getting free money, which is probably more money than you were earning at all on the KFC tour. So yeah, let me ask this: what do you think? Do you think Brooks is in contention come Sunday?
I mean, like I'm really curious to see if this can hold up for 4 days, right? I mean, but like we were talking about, like how can
I'm not gonna doubt him. I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna do it, man. I'll just refuse to do it.
I'd like to think the major knee surgery 2 months ago would at some point start impacting his play this week, but I don't know, man.
Yeah, and the one knock I will have on Brooks was the hat that he had on today. I don't know what the hell that thing was. Or Jordan Spieth's shirt yesterday. Those are fashion towels.
Maybe he was a big DMX fan and just wanted to pay a tribute. Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, that absolutely.
Or hungover game, whatever story you want to believe about that. But yeah, it's incredible, and I think Brooks, again, I just don't know how the guy continues to just show up for major championship, and it's not like it's every major championship. Yeah. It's if he's always there, he's always contending. It's impressive and it's fun. Brooks loves Brooks. Like Brooks will tell you how much he loves him some Brooks, but like
Brooks loves the money too, man.
That's why he's just kind of like he's the golfer that's not the golfer, right? That's kind of the persona he's always kind of carried. It's just weird, and he's easy to root against. He's easy to root for, whatever spectrum you're on with it.
Hey man, he has beef with Bryson, so I'm a huge
he's good in your book, right? Yeah.
I am a big fan.
Let's talk about let's transfer to a guy real quick. And this might be one of the most just complete players in the world. And I just find myself just hard pressed not to pick him when we talk about DFS and things like that. It's Victor Hovland. I mean, it's hard the way he strikes the golf ball. He hasn't even touched close to his ceiling when he starts to begin improving his short game, his chipping and whatnot. The sky is the limit. If we were to sit here right now, not to put you on the spot, and I'm not going to put Matt Wolff in this right now because Matt Wolff's kind of in a bad way. I don't even want to bring him into this. I think he withdrew this week just because his game's in shit shape, and I don't hate him for it because this will embarrass you this week if it is. If I had to put a bullet to your head right now, or a gun to your head rather, the bullet will come later. And had to say Victor Hovland or Colin Morikawa ends up with more victories when it's all said and done, what player would you take?
I'd have to go with Morikawa, and I can't tell you how hard that is because I am the biggest Victor Hovland fan. Like I love the guy. He reminds me of a young Rory where you just watch the guy play and you're like, holy crap, is that guy talented? And then you see him putt sometimes, and you're like, what are you doing, dude? You're leaving like a 63 out there. But, I mean, Morikawa, first of all, he already has 3 wins. He already has a major, WGC. And to me, if you look at guys that have sustained success on the PGA Tour, they're all great iron players. I mean, look at Tiger. Like, his iron game carried him through his career. Now, granted, he was a pretty good putter too. But, like, with Morikawa, like, I just don't see how that guy is like plugging along on the PGA Tour for 3 months and then, he won. Oh yeah, I could see Morikawa won. And like, so I just see a long career of 1 to 4 wins every year, and could rack up a lot of wins.
You know what? I agree. There's a lot of good points, and I actually think that we're talking about probably 2 guys that are going to be top 10 players in the world for a long time to come. And it's exciting. Like, there's a lot of young blood in golf right now that is exciting. I mean, Spieth, of course, moves the needle as much as anybody. I mean, with Tiger being out, you could argue it if you want. Does Spieth move the needle more than anybody?
Yeah.
I think it's not close just because he's an American too.
He brings the average fan in.
Well, yeah, he's a freaking it's a wreck watching him out there.
And dude, to your point about young players coming into the game, think about all the guys that are chasing distance in the middle of their careers. Somewhere right now, there's a 14-year-old.
Why are they chasing distance, man?
Right. There's a 14-year-old somewhere that's like learning his swing. That's all about distance. And he's going to grow up with a long game that is just insane. Like there's probably going to be a whole batch of players like that.
And I think this is where the slope gets slippery. When we talk about, and this is a debate somewhat off of the topic of this tournament, but like what does it look like in 10 years? Is it Bryson ball where we got multiple guys that are at 200 mile an hour ball speed, or at some point do we have to like step back and hone things back because there's not many 8,000-yard golf courses to play on. It's actually pretty much this place.
And not to mention the way golf course design is going, they're trying to make courses smaller so they don't have as big of an impact on the environment with water and all that stuff. So, yeah, it's a definite problem, and I don't know what the right answer is because
I don't either.
The other thing, too, is like, oh, you got to lengthen the golf course to make it fair. It's like, well, if you lengthen the golf course, that's going to benefit the longer hitters more than anybody. Like,
right.
So that's and if they did roll the ball back, which I think would be the most sensible thing to do.
Yep.
The long hitters will still have an advantage. So
and that's fine.
Every right to go chase speed,
And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with the longer hitter having the advantage.
Absolutely.
It's the design of the course, and we're basically taking fantastic golf courses that can't be played on tour anymore because of the length. And it's not if you guys are 25 yards further than everybody, that's fine. But let's bring back the architecture of the golf course. And if it's a professional golf ball as compared in us as amateurs can play a different golf ball, I think that is probably more of the answer than just roll back the golf ball completely because I don't need the golf ball rolled back. I don't think you need it rolled back, But I mean, at what point is enough, and like how much can we push the threshold? And I think Bryson's making it to where these are conversations that had to be had by people that are way more important than we are, certainly, that are going to have to make these decisions. And the USGA and Mike Davis or whoever the hell is in charge of the PGA anymore. Yeah. So these are decisions these are going to have to make, and it's. I don't know if it's something that I think something has to be done sooner rather than later because, again, you're just hurting the integrity of golf courses around America. There's plenty of great like tracks like at Inverness in Toledo or like these are tracks that like
Canterbury.
They're major championship courses. They just don't have the acreage or square footage to make it work at this level.
So, and to your point of how it's just gotten ridiculous, I understand the wind was helping. But I saw Bryson hit a pitching wedge 202 yards out today. And he hit it about 195. It was like a sensible shot. It was just like, okay, the wind can't be that strong.
Right.
Like this is
right. Yeah, 100%, man. 100%. And hey, what's up, brother? It's a really cool conversation that we could talk in loops about because there's and I understand other people's arguments. Like I get like the people that are against it, like because there's an argument on that side as well. But like,
I don't know. I just think it's a lot more fun when you get to watch these pros hit really difficult golf shots, like and long irons. They're hard clubs to hit, and to watch these guys work the ball they do with those shots and get them to land softly. Like that's the shit I want to see. Like I want to see Bryson hitting a flip wedge.
Yeah, I don't need flip wedges all day. Right.
You know what I mean? So,
and we look at courses like Augusta, for example, which has the great ability to actually stretch back hole. Like they have the property there. You've been on property.
Yeah, it helps when you have unlimited money.
Yeah, but at the same time we look at holes like 13 and 15, and these holes were designed for long irons, right? 13 was designed for you to hit a 4-iron off of uphill lie like this. Like it wasn't meant to be an 8-iron. And the same with 15. Like we're talking about the greatest golf course and piece of property that this world has.
Right.
And it's still and it's almost to the point like where do we go with it? I don't know. It's like, I don't want to bore people with this conversation because this is something you and I can talk about forever.
Yeah.
But it's
and I will say this. I bet you Augusta is the first governing body that makes a move on it. I wouldn't be surprised if, I don't know what the timeline is, but I don't know, maybe the next 5 to 10 years, you have to have a tournament ball at Augusta. Yeah. I think would be awesome.
Augusta doesn't answer to anybody. Augusta answers to Augusta.
Right.
So if, and again, is it, I think it's Fred Ridley still out there. That's the, or maybe they just changed it. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Hootie.
Yeah. Yeah. So, again, they're going to make their own rules. You're right. That's a really great point because Augusta is going to say, hey, this is what we're going to do. Augusta's not going to let their golf course be overpowered only to an extent because they're going to uphold the integrity of that tournament any way they possibly can.
For sure.
All right, man.
So I know we kind of touched on him, but yeah, we need to talk about Viktor Hovland as well because he left a lot of strokes out there today.
Oh, he should be with Corey Connors right now. Yeah. I think he missed 2 putts inside 5 feet for birdie. I mean, he should be right there with Corey Connors.
Absolutely. And the thing about Viktor Hovland, I know I keep bringing up like wanting to see guys do it for 72 holes. With his game, like I'm pretty confident that he'll
be there.
Yeah,
he'll be there.
This isn't just a flash in the pan. And not to mention he's been doing it for about a year now. But my favorite Viktor Hovland story. So back when I lived in Columbus, they have a Corn Ferry Tour event there. It's actually, I believe it's the last one on the schedule. And when Viktor Hovland was playing there, me and my buddy are like, oh, yeah, I think he plays at Oklahoma State. We'll follow him for a few holes. And, dude, we followed him for a hole 9 just because the ball striking exhibition the guy put on was unbelievable. And we were both like, yeah, this dude is going to make a lot of noise.
Yeah. Oh, no, I mean, just think of that Oklahoma State team in general and some of the talent that's been pumped through them or through that, that school. Good kid, too, man. Like Viktor Hovland never gets down on himself. It doesn't look like.
He's always happy. He traveled the country in an RV during COVID. Like, guy just seems like, he's from Norway and he came over to America. And just like, I want to see America, and I have the money to do it.
Yeah, exactly, man. All right, let's touch on it, man. I expected 78 after the way things opened up. Phil comes out, he goes bogey, birdies 3, that makes 3 bogeys in a row. I'm thinking, yeah, this is Phil here. This is going to be a little 78 piece. Ends up making 5 birdies over the next 13 holes and gets in at 2 under. You've talked about guys that you've been thinking can hold it up for 4 days. I'm certainly not there with Phil Mickelson. Are you?
No.
I mean,
no. I want to say, was it last week or 2 weeks ago? He was the leader after round, and then just blew up.
Yeah.
No, I love Phil, and today was kind of a throwback Phil round. I mean, yeah, of course Phil shoots. I think he ended up at 2 under with 5 bogeys.
He hit 70.
Yeah, that's Phil.
Yeah.
But if he stays around for the weekend, he'll put up a big number at some point.
Yeah, I agree. Just simply based off the fact that we talked about it earlier, you can't fake it around Key Island and Phil Mickelson. And this is another reason. Phil gets up on 1 and hits it over to fucking Louisiana off of 1, and it's like, oh, here we go.
Someone went, whoa!
And he lays back with 3 wood and still hits it off the planet. And you know that at some point the dreaded triple is in his future just based off of his miss. I mean, he's everywhere.
The classic birdie, triple birdie.
Yeah. And it's like, listen, that's why we still like to watch Phil. But again, a guy that I don't expect to be there. Let's
see it though, man.
Oh, hell yeah. I was talking last week to the boys, and listen, I've been known to secret Phil. I have him on a couple lineups this week. Just on the down low. I don't talk about it. But last week I was like, I'm taking Phil. And then he was the leader after round 1. And I'm like, yeah, I took Phil. And then I was just like, I didn't say a word about it to the boys in the group text the rest of the week.
You knew what was going on. Yeah.
Oh, man. All right. So let's and we'll get back here because I know we want to touch on Ricky for sure, but let's talk about disappointments. Let's start with your boy.
Yeah. I'm kind of surprised it took 40 minutes to bring up Rory. To be honest with you, this seems about right for where Rory's been for the past 3 months. The win at Quail Hollow was such a fluke. First of all, you have him 3 weeks into a swing change. He wakes up Wednesday morning before Quail Hollow, has a stiff neck, can't even play, might withdraw, ends up playing. And then not only does he win the tournament, he wins the tournament with his short game carrying him the whole way. Can't just off the planet with his driver and just making putts from everywhere. And you're like, who? This doesn't even look like Rory. But to this week, I mean, first of all, a 75 is out there if you're just a little off. And
a 75 is not out of this thing, by the way.
No, he's only
3 over is not out of this thing by any means.
Outside of Corey, I mean, he's got to have a hell of a couple rounds, but I mean, we all know he's capable at this course.
268s, and you're right there back in the thick of things.
Yeah, but I think the problem with Rory lately is he's just way too deep in his head in pressure situations. I mean, you look at his track record after he won the 3 legs of the Grand Slam. You look at his track record at Augusta where he's trying to complete the career Grand Slam. Like, it's like all top 5s. And his form is there. He just goes brain dead for a round. And I think that's why he won at Quail Hollow, because he was just like, whatever, man, I'll play, but my neck's messed up. I'm in the middle.
Play with house money,
yeah,
pretty much.
The dude won. So yeah. I just think when he gets into these big tournaments, he is such a smart guy, in my opinion, that he knows what his legacy could be. He knows how talented he is. So he gets so far into his head and just plays himself out of the tournament. So
it wasn't long ago where he had a top 5 streak of. I'm sure you remember. I mean, it was within a year, right? Yeah. Where it was like Rory's game was he wasn't winning, but he was right there every single week.
I mean, he was number 1 in the world like 18 months ago.
Yeah, it's to me like the issue I have with Rory, and I've had it for a while, I just don't think he's improved his wedge game at all. No. I think it's the still sloppy ass wedge game. I mean, today he missed a green from 90 yards. It's just like we talked about earlier. I talked about guys like Justin Thomas, which we'll get to here in a second because it's not like he had a better round, but like guys that flight the ball, and like Rory's just never gotten there. He's never gotten there with his wedges, and I know he's worked hard on it, but it's not, his control is just, it's not good enough from 125 and in. He's just not, he's not good enough to where he should be, and it's irritating to me to an extent, and I know he works on it. I'm not going to say he doesn't work on it, but like, it should be better at this point. It's just, let's be honest, it just should be better. I mean, and it's not, and it holds him back. And now that he's not hitting his driver like he was, I mean, he was the best driver in golf. Like now he's not hitting his driver enough. He needs to be better in that category in order to keep rounds together. And I just don't think he's there right now.
No, and the funny thing is he knows it too. Like he's been open about like, yeah, my wedge game. And it's not even that his wedge game is that bad. It's just when you look at all of his ball striking stats, it just doesn't make any sense that he should have such a bad wedge game. Not to mention, if you're that great of a driver, wouldn't you just practice wedges all day? Like I just don't.
And that's what DJ essentially did,
right?
That's to become the player. I mean, he
needs to do too. Bryson, yeah.
Well, yeah, but that's a whole different. He's got a 7-iron length wedge. But I mean, again, like. I just think that like in all the great golfers, I think have done this to where you can hit the dick high wedge that spins like crazy from 100 yards, 110 yards. Tiger does. It doesn't seem to be something in his game. It just surprises me that he's never put it into his game. And he's Rory McIlroy, though. I'm not gonna say he's what am I doing here, right? I'm saying he's an idiot because he can't hit a low shot. But I mean, anyway, like again, it's surprising to me that that's something in his game that, like to your point, he knows that it's an issue. But again, he hasn't really done much in statistics wise. I mean, again, it's fine It's just, I just think that that's the part of his game he's lacking creativity, I think. I mean, because being hitting different trajectory wedges and stuff, it's just being creative. And I think Rory's more of a want to just hit a stock 56 at this, you know what I mean? A stock 52 at this. And there's not just like the artistry with the wedge game like you see with, you know, some of the better guys.
But I will say Rory, he'll bring it out sometimes. And when Rory is on, I really think he's my favorite golfer I've ever seen. Like,
well, he's unbeatable.
Dude. Yeah. So, and the other thing is too, can we just talk about why is Rory McIlroy changing his golf swing? Like what? Like what? Like,
well, it stems from your boy. Your favorite golfer.
He admitted to, dude, that infuriated me because you're like, oh my, don't give Bryson a bigger head than what he already has. Like,
and of course, it made me laugh because I know how much you love Rory and I know how much you love Bryson. So for Bryson to jack up Rory's swing had to be really tough on you, man. But again, it was the chasing distance, and it's like, you know how it is. You play enough golf where you start doing something wrong thousands of times, it's so hard to do it right, and when it just feels weird, and it's just he's actually looking for a swing right now, and that just shows you how good Rory is because he's won, and he's still looking for what he's doing with his swing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, think another point as to how good Rory is. Think about the conversation that we're having. The guy won on tour 2 weeks ago.
No, I know. It's fair.
You know what I mean? It's just like that's how good Rory is.
Well, and this is in the betting world sees it too. I mean, he went from being kind of in the 25 to 30 outright range, 30 to 1, and then he wins, and he was the number one outright this week. Yeah. Like he had 10 to 1 odds, I think, which hopefully nobody touched because it's just a lot. So like when especially when you're betting outrights and stuff, and I always roll my outright with Spieth just because I'm going to spend my retirement just trying for Spieth to buy Spieth wins.
It's coming.
but it's like, you know, you want to kind of step out to the more 30 to 1s, 50 to 1s. But just to hit on another guy real quick, Justin Thomas, super disappointing.
Okay. Did you ever think that you would see Justin Thomas blade a bunker shot in a major championship?
Like, no. Although I did see him hit a straight shank at Riv once.
Oh, I did see that as well.
So, I mean, you're right. yeah. But no, you are right.
He made par on that hole, I want to say. So.
He did. He did make par. It's like 2 feet from the other fairway.
Right.
His just a tough. I think the whole group, and sometimes this happens on tour. The group just kind of comes out and they're stuck in mud, and that's kind of what this group was early on, until things got going. But yeah, he just kind of didn't seem like he was himself, and then he doubled 18.
Just wasn't comfortable. It felt like I don't know. It was just you saw Justin Thomas do things that like. Dude, what are you doing? You're Justin Thomas.
Yeah,
major.
Like you're right, and it's surprising because, and Justin Thomas is really since his controversy with, whatever on the speaker or the mic. Yeah, it's really been kind of a hard time for him, except the win, right? The big win, but like outside of that, it's been like it's really hard to pinpoint what. Geez, look at how I spelled Brooks Kepka in this ticker here.
Yeah,
that is classy, boys and girls. That's how that's how it's done. Let's take that ticker off there. All right, and we're in good shape. But no, it's like you don't really know what Justin Thomas you're getting, and he was heavily bet this week as well. Yeah. And again, I'm not saying 3 overs out of it, but I don't think there was anything Rory or JT showed me today that gives me any hope that they're going to be getting back into this and into the contention on Sunday.
And the other thing is too is like, yeah, they're only 6 shots back at second place, but they're tied for 93rd right now. Like there's so many guys ahead of them that they really need to just fire a couple super low rounds, which obviously they're capable of, but it's a tall ask on a course like this.
Well, right. And this is the kind of course you can't press on. Like, you just can't, because like there's only so many opportunities out there, and there's holes you literally just got to make par. You got to move on to the next one. And it's like, I'm watching guys over here like Webb Simpson is struggling. He's just trying to get through.
Expect that.
Let's I'm just looking at the leaderboard real quick, looking for some big surprises. Adam Scott with a 78 seems to be a decent surprise. Daniel Berger stole lots of money from lots of people. The bottle had him number 1 this week. He's currently 6 over through 16.
Not vibing.
Not vibing at all, dude. No. DB is not vibing today, boys and girls. Sam Burns is a scumbag. He pulled out. It said he was hurt. He was just playing like ass. He was on one of my lineups, so that's unfortunate for me. I mean, the guy's gone first, second.
Yeah, I was saying, that's kind of surprising.
It's like, dude, it's like, yeah, you shot 41, man. Just it's fine. You're like in this thing, and I'm not saying that he's faking an injury, but damn, it sure feels like he's faking an injury.
Actually not, because I might, if I was playing that course, I might want to tap out after.
Yeah, 9. No, it's true. I mean, really not many. Wow, here's a surprise for me. Yeah, and that's it. And I think this happened more since we started the show. Max Homa was 78.
Dude, he was
he made 7 on 13, the par 3. And then made another bogey.
Yeah, man, it's like
42 on the back.
Like, Max Homa just can't, like, he's on that second or third tier of pro golfers, and like, I think he'll get into East Lake this year, but he just can't seem to break through to that next level of PGA Tour superstar. And there's nothing wrong with that, but
not at all. Like, his odds this week were very surprising to me. He was 155 to 1 to win, which I thought was a crazy, ridiculous number. And then he was even par, and I was like, okay, this is fine. But yeah, so apparently 17 was not good to Max Homa.
So speaking of 17, can we talk about that tee shot? Like, I mean, how awesome is Pete Dye, where you're just standing there, left is visually from the tee, all you see is sand. It's over water. There's no bailout swing whatsoever. It's visually just a complete mind effort, and it can play up to 240 yards into the wind if they really want.
Straight into the wind. Yeah, we saw guys hitting through there today. The thing is like, you can bail left, but then you're faced in not even a bunker shot, a waist area shot rather.
Oh yeah,
and it's straight back, and the other side of the green's the water. So you're basically hitting a shot out of what could be a mediocre to shit lie. I saw Rory get one. My man tried to get relief out of an embedded ball in the waist area, and I was like, yeah, it ain't gonna work. And they were like, yeah, it ain't gonna work. So okay. He's like, you were really pulling, so you were trying hard there. But it's a weird element this week that they're playing. But you're right. I mean, 17 is that hole. I saw Louis Oosthuizen was 2 under, got to 17. He was hitting 3-wood, and he hits it in the water. I mean, it's just a big ask, right? I think when we played it, it only played like 225, which is still a long way. But the time of year I played it was not into the wind. I actually I know for a fact I didn't hit the ball in the water. But it's just, you're right. I think there was like 4 birdies the whole day on that hole.
Yeah. So I got to ask you, I mean, do you like this course? Like, you've played it. I mean, we all know how hard it is and the views are beautiful, but like, did you enjoy playing it?
Yes. So I did, because the caddy made it like, because I'll tell you the one thing is, it's a Pete Dye course, right? And you've played Pete Dye courses, I'm sure. Intimidating off the tee, where you don't know where to hit it, and if you're playing it for the first time, it's like, it just looks like I'm hitting into the middle of like a sand dune. But like, having a caddy makes it fun. But yeah, if I were to play that course every day, I would go quick off. It would be fun,
right?
Like, and I think that's why it's okay for this week, and I think it's a nice difference in a major championship. And I think the PGA has extreme potential to set this up however kind of they want over the next 3 days, which will be very fun. But yeah, the golf course it's hard. But like, when I didn't play from 7,800 yards, right? Because that wouldn't have been fun. Even from like, I think it was 7,300 yards wasn't, I mean, it was fun, but I was exhausted after in a 2-hour drive back to Myrtle Beach. But I think it's a cool course to have an event every 10 or 15 years, just because it's definitely different than what you get in most PGA championships. The course is kind of unlike any other, although it's oceanside and it has marsh, it has links style to it. To where it's just like, it's kind of like a mind MF, like you said, where like you don't really know what like the course is. It's just all you know is really damn hard.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. It's a good test for professional golfers, and I enjoy watching it every 10 years. But like, I can't imagine playing that course. I just feel like I'm getting kicked in the teeth every single hole. Like it can't be.
It can't be that. It's not that
maybe
hard.
you play once or twice in your life, but
Exactly, man. All right, so let's touch on a few more guys here.
Let's do it.
As Spieth is just trying to get out of here, man.
What's he at?
He's at even. He's on 18. He's missed the green. He's
that's not okay. He's got a little.
He took some relief from something. I have no idea what it actually was, but as long as it's oh gosh. All right. Anyway, I'm not going to watch golf and talk about it on this show here. He's got about 12 feet. That's the last thing I'm going to say about it. So yeah, Spieth right now, well, it shows him at 1 over because I haven't refreshed. Let's talk about just a couple more guys here, and then we'll kind of go into some weekend predictions. I might even make you pick an outright winner. Wow. Yeah, some interesting guys here. Cam Smith is one that comes to mind because Cam Smith was –
dude, he's been having a phenomenal year.
He has. And he's a guy that you like at tough golf courses. And he got in an even par. I think it's a good round.
That's fine.
Yeah, again, I agree. And then there's not much to say about Cam Smith. Gary Woodland's a pleasant surprise.
Yeah,
and I love it. He got in at 2 under. Dude got health problems, lost a shitload of weight. Basically, after winning the U.S. Open at Pebble, I mean, we haven't seen much great form out of him.
Dude,
to see him shoot 200 is fantastic.
Yeah, and I mean, he was in the hunt at Quail Hollow. Kind of didn't land the plane exactly, but you know, he played some good golf that week. Definitely refreshing to see him back up there because he's been another guy. Like, I mean, there's just so many guys on tour that lose it, and in today's day and age, everyone starts freaking out. But you look at people's PGA Tour careers, like, it's not that uncommon for guys to like just have a year or two where they're off. I mean, Nicklaus,
not at all.
Tiger went through it. I mean,
yeah. Tiger didn't go through it for 12 or 13 years, but then he started, you know what I mean? Yeah. And then he went, well, that's why he's a crazy person, right? Like, that's why he's a crazy person. Like, exactly. Like, this game is literally somebody that teaches and talks. Like, this game's this much. This game's for at this level, it's moving the ball back at a quarter inch. It's one little grip adjustment. It's one little shoulder aim adjustment. Like, and then it clicks. Like, that's what it is. But like, yeah, these guys lose their way because the line is so razor thin. And what it comes down to is making putts, man. And Spieth looks like he got in a 1 over. So not terrible.
So speaking of guys that have kind of lost their way, how about Ricky Fowler getting it to 1 under on the special exemption?
Perfect transition.
Yeah.
Perfect transition to that. Well done. It's like you're a pro. Listen, man, we've on our shows on Tuesdays, and we've given Ricky a hard time, and rightfully so. I mean,
off the reservation.
Yeah, I mean, nobody wants to play better than Ricky does, right? Like Ricky, and it's tough because his problems have crept from down through his entire bag. I mean, and I still think is one of the sweetest putting strokes on tour.
Oh.
I mean, he crept down in the 150th in strokes gained putting range. And it's like that stroke's way. It's just like when shit starts to go bad, it starts to creep down, and then you're searching, right? And sometimes you need a different set of eyes. I think Butchie took a look at his swing, like I know he has with other players. I know Butch Harmon took a look at Spieth's swing. Which did you hear the no laying up interview there with Spieth? by chance?
I'm a little behind.
Yeah.
But
so Spieth was saying, not to get again off the reservation like Ricky here, but so Spieth was saying a couple things that I thought were kind of cool. One, he was saying how when you've made a ton of money, and
I did hear this. Okay,
it's like it could be a crutch to your game, and like when you're in a bad way, it's like, well, that's fine. I'm still kind of sad, like you know what I mean. And he's like a super, that's a terrible crutch. But he was also talking about how he was talking to his coach, Cameron McCormick rather, and he was saying, "Hey, I want to go have Butch take a look at my swing." Butch at this point, Butch is retired, probably the greatest teacher of all time.
But sure.
And he's just retired up in Vegas, and so he went up and saw Butchie, and sometimes, man, the thing is with golf is sometimes the message is the same. It's just who's delivering it and how are they delivering it, right? So Cameron McCormick could be saying one thing, and it's the same thing Butch is saying, but Butch can say it in a different way, and it can click.
And with these guys too, it's like once they get the feel of it, they're good to go.
Yep, exactly, because they're not that far off, right? Yeah. They're not that far off.
So with Ricky, though, I think it's kind of interesting because his putting stroke is so important to his game because he's just kind of average everywhere else that once his putting stroke goes, like things are going to get really bad. And they're
going to get dicey, and they're going to get dicey fast.
Right.
Because you're right. His putter saves his ass, and we've seen it we saw it at Scottsdale. We've seen it on multiple occasions. I mean, I guess the players, he just hit 552 degrees to 3 feet. But yeah, I mean, you're right. It's kind of what makes Ricky go up and down. I mean, and he's gone from making birdies to it looks like, I mean, he switched putters multiple times. We're talking about a guy with the Scotty Cameron that's been so good to him. I mean, we saw Tiger do it. I mean, everybody's doing it. Patrick Cantley's had fucking 17 different putters in the bag the last 3 weeks. I mean, Jesus, dude. The guy, every time I see him, he's got a different putter.
Hey, be easy on him, man. He broke up with his girlfriend.
Yeah, all right, whatever. Where did he broke up with his girlfriend? No, because I saw. I know he
That's
had.
Why he's struggling.
Is he struggling? Where's he at? All right.
I think he did all right. But no, he had like 2 eagles and 5 bogeys. The last it just had a ridiculous. He had 2 eagles and was even par. I think the last I looked.
He looks like he's in the house at 1.
Yeah,
1 over.
So with Ricky, I got a question for you. What is up with him starting his putting stance with left hand low and then reverting back to a normal grip when he's actually about to strike the ball? Why would he do that?
It's a good question. And so, of course, this kind of touches on the points we were talking about, where he's kind of tinkering with everything. A lot of the time, what I think that Ricky's doing is his left hand, it's kind of closing on. So Ricky's stroke with a blade putter, and I don't want to get nerdy on everybody here. A blade putter is supposed to be toe open to toe shut, right? Where face balance putters are straight back and straight through stroke. So with the blade putter, you want it where the toe swings open and the toe swings shut. Well, if the toe's starting to swing shut quicker, oh shit, I'm hitting the microphone here. All right, here we go. Toe starts swinging closed faster. You want to almost feel like you're hitting the ball with the back of your left hand. And that way that blade through impact, when it's opening, if you're hitting it with the back of the left hand, it's not allowing it to close as fast as it once was. So I think when he feels it like that, it's feeling like he's almost imagining hitting it with the back of the hand right from there. And that's going to help in him to make sure the toe doesn't swing close too much. That's what I think he was doing with that. And again, it might be mental for him. But a lot of the times what happens is when people do go to a cross-handed method, it's mostly because the toe is swinging close too fast. And the miss you see a lot with a person with a cross-handed putting stroke, which you see with Spieth often, is a miss to the right. And because it's harder to open and shut it when you have that flat left wrist going through the putting area. So that's what I'm guessing what he's doing. It's just he's to your point, Ricky's not going to be around in contention on the weekend. He might be around for the weekend. He's not going to be in contention. This is a process for him. This isn't he's figured this out. This is more of we talked that there's guys that could tweak it do something small, and then boom, everything's fine. But he's not there right now. He was so far off the reservation, to your point, where this is a building block for him. I think it's an important one because he got the exemption, the special exemption from the PGA, and I know people that weren't thrilled about it, that thought he was undeserving of it. And then
get over it.
No, I 100% agree.
No, I'm not saying it to you. It's just like,
yeah, but it's like, and to him also, his game's been shit. So honestly, going into Keel Island with your game terrible, and people are looking at you like you don't necessarily deserve this exemption, like, yeah, you got to go play. Yeah. And I think hopefully it's a building block to see Ricky start to play better, because he's an integral part of this tour. I think he has a lot of fans, and I think it's a better game when Ricky is playing good golf.
Well, the other thing is if you look at Ricky's pedigree from where he was as an amateur in college, Walker Cup teams, the guy should have a lot more than 4 PGA Tour wins. Like that just
look at his major record, dude.
Yeah,
I mean, look at his major. He's there. I mean, not now, but he's been there a ton.
Yeah, I mean, I want to say he was runner-up at the Masters just a year or two ago, maybe more now, but still. I mean, he had the 1 year in 2015 where he was top 5 in all 4 majors. So the guy has game. It's just, you hear people talk about how winning is a skill on the PGA Tour. I think Ricky is a perfect example of, the guy has plenty of game to win. He just doesn't have that inherent quality, whatever it is that Tiger had, that Brooks has in majors apparently, where they just close the thing out.
And that's a great point. Winning is a skill, and it's also learned. It's not like you don't just wake up and know how to win golf tournaments. I mean, there's guys that just struggle getting it done. I mean, look at Tony Finau, right?
Like,
he's a great player. Like, it's not easy to close out tournaments.
No. And like, think how mind-boggling that is. Like, Tony Finau, I think he's only won the Puerto Rico Open.
Which will count, but we won't.
Yeah.
Like, at the same time, it feels like he doesn't have a PGA Tour win. I mean, I feel like everybody, when they think of Tony Finau, they're like, he doesn't have a PGA Tour win.
Right. And he's been top 10 in the world for it feels like years now.
And it's incredible when guys like even Spieth, to his point, and I'll always talk about Spieth because that's my fallback. He's my guy. Spieth says it's got to you got to relearn winning again, right?
Yeah.
Like you have to. It's like it's something that you learn, and then when you're away from, and the thing is, that's a very interesting point. Is like he's like, when you've been away from winning for a certain period of time, and for him it's been like a year or 2 years. Like, I mean, I know he didn't win for almost 3 years, but he's been in contention at other points, right? It's not like, and the other thing, it's not like Spieth lost his game like Ricky. Like Spieth was still like, it's a whole different animal.
Yeah.
Right. And so, but when you lose it, like, it's just such a thin line between getting it back. But for Ricky, it's in relearning winning, it's a thing, because like most guys on tour aren't in contention all the time, and when they are, they shit the bed because they're freaking out. When you got guys like Spieth, they know they've been in contention multiple times and they still have to relearn it. Like Spieth, like it's still a constant learning thing, and that's why it makes it so incredible. Like the way Jack and Tiger close things out. Tiger's name is on the leaderboard, and he could shoot 71, and everybody else would just gag and vomit all over themselves. It's not like that's how it was. It was that intimidation factor, and like guys know how to win and guys don't. And Tiger never forgot how to win. Look at the 2019 Masters. You look at 12 on number 12. Tiger knew, boom, he hits it 45 feet left over the bunker in the middle of the green. Like everybody knows you hit it over the bunker. And that's how you win. And those other guys gagged it away. Yeah,
and look what he did on 18. Like, he hit his tee shot in the shit. He's like, hey, I'm fine with winning by 1 stroke. Like, didn't try to do anything stupid. Just got it up there, made his bogey, and put on the jacket. So, like, yeah, and it's interesting what you say about how it's a learned skill, because you have to give yourself the most possible chances at winning. Like, get into contention as much as possible, because you look at when he was rattling off wins, like that's because he was top 10 every week. And sometimes like you could shoot a 72 on Sunday and just be the only man standing, I think
you
that
got to
was
learn how to deal with nerves, man.
Yeah,
because there's different nerves coming down the stretch
Miller,
on a Sunday. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just a different animal. Like your legs are shaking. I mean, even for guys like Spieth and like Justin, like it's still like you're nervous as hell coming down the stretch on a Sunday. It's like you train yourself and you know how to deal with those nerves. That's what makes a champion between a guy that contends. Yeah. And I think that's what's held back a Tony Finau and guys like, I mean, Tony Finau should have 6 wins in majors.
Arguably.
Like what are we doing here? Like
another good example of this is Sam Burns. You look at the beginning of the year, he was a top 10 machine, whatever you want to say. And he got into contention, I believe, early on in the year, but just completely vomited all over himself on Sunday. And then the past 2 weeks he won, and then the next week just couldn't get it done on Sunday. But he keeps putting himself in these positions, and
the more you're in it, the more comfortable you're in it. Exactly. You know, 100%, man, 100%, man. All right, well, hey, it's been a fantastic show. You'll be on again, 100%.
All right, man.
I always have a good time shooting the shit with you. Let's do one last thing.
Okay.
You get one outright. After today's round, I'll let you take the pick of the litter. One guy.
It's got to be Victor Hovland. Like, I just don't see this guy going away.
Yeah. I get it, man. I'm sticking to my guns, dude. I'll take Spieth still. 100% take Spieth still. He's right there. One over is just a fine. It's tied for 41st now. Just fine.
And the thing is, a grinder like that might come out on top.
My boy Harry Higgs, though. My guy shot even par today, man. My guy. I love me some Harry Higgs. That's impressive for my
like that guy's shirt is like down to his belly button, it feels like.
Bro, he's got the deep V, the deep one. Yeah, that's the Harry Higgs style, man.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, listen, hey, thank you again so much for coming on. It was a good time. We've gone an hour and 40 minutes. We could go forever. We could literally talk for an hour and 40 minutes about the ball roll back, but we won't do that. We won't do that to the people.
I think that's
any last words before we get out of here, man?
No, man, I'm good. Just thanks for having me on. And yeah, I'd love to come back if you guys need another pinch hitter.
Oh yeah, no doubt. We definitely will. It was I think it was good content. I think we had a lot of fun. So we'll get out of here. Thank you everybody for commenting, listening, and hopefully everybody makes some money this weekend and just enjoys the golf. It's going to hopefully we see carnage at some point. I think we saw a little bit today. This is kind of at the PGA's fingertips of how much carnage we see. I'm very interested to see how they do set it up moving forward. But regardless, it's going to be a good time. Everybody stay safe and have a good weekend. And again, appreciate you, brother. And we'll get out of here.
All right, take care.
All right, you too, man.
Did you get all that? If not, make sure you head over to hammercast.com, subscribe, and join the Hammer Nation. Until next time, keep grinding.